The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
You must leave me alone now. I have agreed to everything, even to...
But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
I hope that your search will prove successful and bring Sarah back to us soon.
I'll be leaving now because whatever it is you're up to, I do not want to know.
Since then, we have become one and the same. We have officially erased the identity of my sister Emma. Emily Hillsborough, the woman with two faces.
Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
Louis, the conference is about to start any minute. This is not the time to be... Damn it. What's going on?
I don't know exactly, Mr. President. I was looking for my mother and I came upon this body.
My God. You don't think Sarah did it, do you?
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I...
How awful. What has your mother gotten herself into now?
If only I knew, Mr. President.
If no one saw you, I'd advise you not to get involved, Louis, so that no one will accuse you of the murder. Ah, darn, the conference is starting. Time is of the essence. Sort this out and join us as quickly as you can in the conference room. Everyone will be expecting you.
Mr. President, this is not really the right time, and I didn't come for that.
Your mother's seat cannot remain vacant. You must replace her while she's still missing. Your mother and I were to support Mortimer on this project. I don't know what the subject is, but the future of our countries depends on it. Given the importance of all this to Mortimer, he won't let the conference begin without you. So if you don't want more servants coming looking for you, I'd advise you to join us quickly and to put a brave face on it. The best favor you can do for yourself, Louis, and for Sarah, is to come and support Mortimer's project at the conference.
Don't worry. You can count on me, Mr. President. I shall help you with Mortimer's project as soon as I've finished up here.
Good, Louis. Sarah would be proud of you. I'll stall them while you're on your way, but make haste. I'm going. Don't be long.
Tell them that I'm on my way.
Oh, he's dead. What the hell's been going on here? Somebody smashed in the back of his head with something. He slowly bled to death. But that isn't what killed him. They broke his neck. Let's see what secret's hidden under these masks. His face doesn't ring a bell. I'm a bit disappointed. Might have expected more from Lord Mortimer. Mother, if this is your doing, the situation is getting worse and worse. Someone's made a fire here, and the ashes are still warm. If you're the one who did it, Mother, it couldn't have been easy with only one hand. I must have just missed her. If only I hadn't wasted so much time getting out of Lord Mortimer's study. An old blanket. From the looks of leftover food. Not exactly fresh. Must have been here for a while. Well, the gate is locked.
Monsieur de Richet, you are expected at the conference. Please take the door to your left to join the guests.
Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better.
Respect to any other totally wrong, I assure you.
I have suspected it.
That it is very common.
Ah, Louis, I've been expecting you. Thank you for joining us. We are about to begin our conference. Let me explain what is at stake.
Thank you kindly, but what do you expect of me exactly? My mother's the one who's supposed to attend, not me.
That is indeed what was initially intended. Unfortunately, she still hasn't been found, and my guests can't stay here indefinitely. The conference must begin, and it would be truly beneficial to the Order to join in the project. Consequently, I would like you to replace her during her absence. What is at stake here is of the utmost importance.
It's important that the French Order gets their say. And should you need any advice, don't worry, you are not alone, Louis.
Very well. Can you give me a brief explanation of the aim of it all?
Of course, Louis, I was coming to that. The aim of these meetings is to bring together the most influential people in order to think together about the future.
But the future of who?
Of the world, Louis.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
In concrete terms, how do you organize your discussions?
A conference is always organized the same way. There are two masters of ceremony who determine an important subject.
You and Sir Gregory, I presume.
Exactly. We shall be the masters of ceremony. It was our obligation to each bring to the table several guests in order to debate a subject. Once the debate is closed, a decision will be made by a vote of all the participants.
By a unanimous vote. If the project is not agreed on by all, then it will be rejected.
And neither of the two masters of ceremony have the right to vote.
It's up to the guests alone to decide, Louis. In other words, us.
Gregory and myself are merely the go-betweens. Finally, if the project is validated, each guest goes home and starts working to make it happen.
It can take years.
Do you often hold this kind of society dinner?
In general, once a year, but in actual fact it tends to be events that dictate our gatherings.
How long have you been active?
Oh, this tradition has more or less always existed, Louis. It has continued from generation to generation. Louis, let me keep you a moment. I would like to let you in on a secret before we begin, because I'm going to need your assistance. You see, the project I'm going to present concerns the territory of Louisiana in North America. It's currently Spanish territory, and I'm going to make the proposition to the Assembly for it to become French. My idea is to increase the territory of the United States. The first stone of this vast project consists of getting Spain to cede Louisiana to France. Once it becomes French, France will hand it over to the United States, which will then allow them to double the size of their territory. And that's where you come in. France and the United States, hand in hand, two democracies illuminating the world.
But why spread it over two phases? Why not announce the overall project immediately?
Unfortunately, If Spain were to hear that the intention of all this is to allow the United States to grow, they would never sign. Manuel Godoy is perfectly aware of President Washington's appetite. If the United States took Louisiana, Godoy would know full well that he will have lost the entire North American continent. Things must take place in several stages. Otherwise, the change will be too brutal, and he will have no choice but to reject the project. Take a look at them. Apart from President Washington, they all belong to monarchies. Do you really think they won't resist? Of course they'll fight, fearful as they are of losing their precious privileges. But the world needs visionaries, like you, like your mother. It's a pity Sarah isn't here to see it. She only knew about a tiny part of the project. I hope I can count on you, Louis. It's time to start now. I must ask you to keep it to yourself for the time being. Take a seat, follow the discussions. We will have an opportunity to catch up later, and you'll be able to let me know your thoughts. My friends, I propose we get started. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come.
The honor is ours, my lord.
As per our custom, here we are all together to discuss the face of tomorrow's world. Even though there may be certain tensions between our nations, I must ask you to keep an open mind. As Sarah de Richet is unable to be among us, please welcome Louis de Richet, who will represent the Golden Order and will vote on its behalf when the time comes.
Welcome among us, Louis.
Welcome, Monsieur.
I hope he'll be more effective than his mother regarding the protection of the King of France. The Order has proved particularly inefficient.
Come, Manuel, you're not going to spoil our visit. The Order's mission was not to protect King Louis XVI, as far as I am aware.
We are talking about a king of divine blood, for goodness sake. It seemed obvious to me he needed protecting. If the Golden Order wants to pride itself on being an influential organization, it should have kept him alive.
I'm sorry about the fate of the King of France, Duke Manuel. However, I'm surprised at your remark. How can a man like me have changed the course of things where a man like you, powerful, capable of influencing international politics, was unable to do any better?
Perhaps we may begin, Lord Mortimer.
Certainly. I have a dream that our nations will continue to support each other, more now than ever before. A dream that, for the sake of common good, we will do what it takes to ensure stability in the modern world. I have a dream that we shall lead by example and ensure that the American territory may remain in peace.
Thank you for the thought, Lord Mortimer, but I don't see where you're leading.
I'm coming to it, Mr. President. I need not remind you that North America is currently divided between the United States on the East Coast and Spain, which occupies the remaining 2/3 of the continent. Well, I propose that Spain cede the center of the continent to France, namely all of Louisiana.
Louisiana? But, well, it is not for sale. Lord Mortimer, I sincerely hope I have not come all this way just to hear you ramble on about what Spain should and should not do. When we went to all the trouble of gaining the territory a few years ago, it was not just to lose it today. Have I made myself clear?
What did I tell you, William? You speak of union, and yet here you are, about to tear us apart.
Duke Manuel, I perfectly understand you. But rest assured, you will soon adore my proposition. You shall see.
Well, since you give me the choice, my good fellow, allow me to doubt it. However, I am impatient to hear what Spain could possibly gain from the sale of Louisiana.
I never spoke of a sale, my good fellow.
What? I do not understand.
There is one more territory left to conquer, if I'm not mistaken, in the northwest. It is, of course, occupied by your notorious Indians, but...
We shall soon be rid of the savages, so that is not a question.
Duke, these savages, as you call them, were there before you. They are on their homeland.
As much as the black people of Africa, Monsieur de Richet. That does not stop your France from massacring them and sending them like cattle to Mr. Washington's cotton plantations to provide him with cheap labor. So you keep your morals to yourself, if you please.
Senor, I would not like to be associated with that. The subject of black slaves in the United States of America is a complex subject, which we shall resolve at a future date.
Senor Godoy, you must know that France will soon ban these barbaric practices.
Oh, do not get on your high horse, Monsieur Frenchman. The only reason why France has ceased trading in slaves is because of the commercial blockade that Great Britain has imposed against you. The instant the shipping lanes have been restored, France will again treat these people like cattle.
Come now, my friends. Let us not digress. Anyway, these primitive people have no souls, Louis. We bring the good word to them in order to save them. You'll see. Colonization brings with it many benefits, too.
Excuse me, if you don't mind, Your Eminence, I shall continue. Duke Manuel, I believe that Spain should cede Louisiana to France, free of charge.
This is utterly grotesque, Lord Mortimer. What a strange example you set for your young protégé. Isn't that so, Monsieur de Richet? Do you understand anything of this proposition?
If I were you, Senor Godoy, I would think twice before stirring up a scandal.
I beg your pardon?
Given the size of your colonies, you won't be able to keep them for long. A number of countries are eyeing them as we speak. The United States would have no trouble taking them. For all intents and purposes, you have no army in place. By wanting to keep everything, you risk losing it all, especially your colonies in South America, which are far more valuable to you.
That is indeed the danger, Duke Manuel. If it comes to war over Louisiana, you will lose. And probably a good deal more than you now imagine.
Young man, you are indeed a dark horse, aren't you?
I must say, William, I find your project mostly disfavors me. I thought you were my friend.
And I am, Mr. President. That is why I'm doing everything in my power to calm your expansionist fervor. France, in Louisiana, should persuade you not to attempt anything to take the territory by force. Louisiana is a vast wetland where you would needlessly lose most of your troops. It would weaken you and offer certain nations the perfect opportunity to take back your famous United States. I am protecting you from yourself, George. Trust me.
I understand. But with friends like you, sir, I certainly don't need any more enemies. I hope you know what you're doing.
Not to put too fine a point on it, Lord Mortimer, but I doubt the Holy See would be in favor of Catholic Louisiana being handed over to secular revolutionaries and king killers.
I should think Monsieur de Richet has an opinion on this subject, does he not?
Your Eminence, have no fear over that. I am sure France will do everything in its power to protect the Christians of Louisiana.
My young friend, how can you come out with such a remark after the discussion we had on the evening of your arrival? If France was so respectful of worship, it would not be bleeding priests, as it is doing at this very moment in time. Don't be naive. This is politics. The Holy See must be concerned at seeing such a large territory falling into the hands of the French. Mi auguro che insegnerete l'educazione a questo giovanotto presuntuoso, Sir Gregory.
I hope that you will teach this pretentious young man some manners, Sir Gregory. It looks like I won't be just making friends here.
In any case, my lord, I doubt the English crown will agree.
Ich will sicher Ihnen, Emily. Ni Preußen wird diese Vereinbarung akzeptieren.
I assure you, Emily, the Prussian will never accept this agreement. Volner looks like he's set on ruining Mortimer's plan.
Duchess, I am persuaded that we shall find a common ground.
That's enough, William. These are grave times. We don't care about the fate of Louisiana. That worthless expanse of putrid swamps interests no one but yourself.
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Hold on there, Mr. Royal Gigolo. Lower the volume, and let Sir Gregory finish.
Home, Godoy, and now Volner? Mortimer's adversaries are ready to tear each other to pieces, and he takes a malicious pleasure in watching it happen.
How dare
Gentlemen, let us try to remain calm.
There you are, William. See where your projects have taken us, as per usual. Chaos! That's enough. I'm tired. We shall continue this discussion tomorrow, but please be aware that your project will never be ratified. Those who are opposed to this project, follow me. Are you coming with us, Monsieur de Richelieu?
Come, Gregory, I think Louis would rather stay. Wouldn't you, Louis?
As for me, I think I shall remain with Lord Mortimer, Sir Gregory.
You are committing a grave error, Louis.
Time will tell.
My friends, I would like to thank you for staying.
Good God, William. What is this I hear about you reinforcing military power in Louisiana? I have no interest in having France for a neighbor, and you know that very well.
Calm down, George. Louis, explain our plan to Mr. Washington, please.
I would have been only too glad to, Lord Mortimer. Unfortunately, I'm not sure myself that I have fully understood all the details of your plan.
Oh, Louis. President Washington, the United States will double in size.
By what miracle have you...
You need to expand, George. You and France are the two major democracies in the modern world. It is necessary that you both become superpowers.
Are you really going to sponsor democracy throughout the world?
Of course, Monsieur Peru. That's why I don't want Spain to get too attached to those weapons. Please continue, Louis. Explain my vision to Mr. President.
Mr. President, Lord Mortimer intends for you to conquer all the North American continent. He's relying on you to not stop at Louisiana, but to continue to push west.
Indeed, it would be dishonest to pretend that this is not my final objective.
But why didn't you tell me before?
So that Lord Mortimer would appear to be isolated without support.
Exactly. You got it, Louis.
Lord Mortimer retains the advantage by advancing undercover, and for it to work, he needed you to act surprised.
William, you haven't changed. Always one step ahead.
One step ahead? You're joking. More like 5.
On that note, my friends, it's getting late. Mr. President, continue to take offense over my project when we resume the conference in the morning. You do it to a T. And if Sir Gregory has the audacity to send you an emissary to convince you to go against me, do me a favor. String him along if you can. The more they believe we are divided, the more we'll have our hands free.
Only too happy to oblige.
Now, let us get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Louis, if you have a minute, I would like to ask a favor of you. I'm going to require your services.
How can I be of help? Tell me all about it.
Our adversaries are many, and the closing vote of the conference will soon be upon us. Time is of an essence, so I'll need you to assist me this evening.
How can I help?
I need you to go this very evening to persuade Signor Godoy to join us. He is the backbone of Gregory's resistance. Turn him round, and all the others will follow in such a stampede that Gregory will be able to do nothing but admit defeat.
Lord Mortimer, with all due respect, don't you think I'm the last person Godoy wants to talk to?
I'm sure you can do it. I believe in you.
Lord Mortimer, you're not telling me everything.
Let's say I wouldn't disapprove if the Right Honorable, though nonetheless choleric, Duke Manuel put you in his bad books. If it could motivate him to declare war on France, it would greatly serve our interests.
War? What do you mean?
I told you before the conference. The more we distract Spain from the Americas, the less it will have an eye on Louisiana.
But all the same, we're talking about a war in Europe.
Don't worry. That's why Mr. Bonaparte is with us. I am convinced we'll be perfectly capable of managing the conflict. And Signor Godoy is not a great soldier. He will not commit Spain to a long war that he won't be capable of managing.
I'll go straight away.
Thank you, my boy. And get some rest afterwards. Big day tomorrow.
Aren't you afraid our projects for Italy may be discovered before we... Oh, please excuse us, Louis, but I need to speak with Lord Mortimer in private.
No. What do you want, Louis?
I'm going to have a word with Duke Manuel, but you know him better than I do, I believe.
Yes. Avoid any marks of respect and protocol pertaining to his rank. He's not fond of courtly manners.
Thank you for the advice, my lord. I shall be leaving you. A ruble.
Dante's Purgatory. Why does your mind presume to flight when you're still like the imperfect grub, the worm before it's attained its final form? Charming.
Ah, Monsieur de Richet. You wouldn't have seen Duke Manuel by any chance, would you?
I was going to ask you the same question.
I wanted to speak to him, but no one will open the door. I'm not sure he's in there.
If I want to pass through, I'll have to get Volner out of the way.
I've searched all over the manor, but I can't find him.
One thing's for sure, Monsieur de Richet. He's neither in his room nor on this floor. I've just looked all over.
I propose we both look for him. The first to find him tells the Duke that the other is also looking for him. Agreed?
Perfect. Let's do that. I shall have a look in the library. If you find the Duke before me, tell him I want to speak to him.
Yes. Let's proceed as you say.
Thank you, Monsieur de Richet.
Right. Now be a good boy and go look somewhere else. Mary Louise of Parma. How ironic having a painting of the Queen of Spain in one's room, my Lord Duke. Hey, it looks like someone slipped something in the back here. It's a letter. Let's see what it says. It reeks of perfume, and it's written in Spanish. Godoy, you really are a little devil. Don Quixote. Talking without thinking is like shooting without taking aim. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. Amber crystals. Golden elixir. Mary Louise of Parma. How ironic having a painting of the Queen of Spain in one's room, my Lord Duke. Hey, it looks like someone slipped something in the back here. It's a letter. Let's see what it says. It reeks of perfume, and it's written in Spanish. Godoy, you really are a little devil. So, let's see what it says. It seems that the Queen isn't the only one enjoying the Lord Duke's favors. If the Queen found out, it would cost him dearly. I'll keep it with me. You never know. Great Work of the Soul by S. Madone. Pure alchemy is a thought, an art that is performed on the matter of the soul. Great alchemists work to transform and perfect the latter by a series of processes known as the Great Work. There are 4 phases to attain the ultimate in spiritual fulfillment. The soul must be transformed in order to attain sublimation by the recombination of the alchemist. It's tempting. Very metaphorical as occult theories go, the human spirit being the prima materia of the alchemist. A chest locked with a 4-letter code, surely a word close to the owner's heart. The Great Work of the Soul by S. Madone. Pure alchemy is a thought, an art that is performed on the matter of the soul. Great alchemists work to transform and perfect the latter by a series of processes known as the Great Work. There are 4 phases to attain the ultimate in spiritual fulfillment. Very metaphorical as occult theories go, the human spirit being the prima materia of the alchemist.
Golden elixir. Amber.
There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid. Atrus, the Miller brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it. The lock is surrounded by a triple circle.
Duke Manuel?
Well, well. Monsieur de Richet, I was not expecting you. I am not in the mood, sir, I warn you. What do you want from me, sir?
I see you're still feeling under pressure. Since your arrival, I've noticed that you've been on the defensive.
Huh?
It seems to me that Monsieur Peru has a knack for getting your back up.
That is the least you can say. Indeed, I was warned. I knew what to expect. For God's sake, why in the hell did your people execute their king? Have the French gone stark raving mad? There are nothing but monarchies in power in Europe. They will all come crashing down on you.
We shall see. It might, well, turn out to be the opposite.
You certainly do not lack for audacity, young man. Just tell me one thing, monsieur. Why did you side with Mortimer? He is alone, isolated. The United States can do nothing to help you, and France is surrounded by over 10 countries, just waiting for the word to pounce. Really, I do not see why you choose Mortimer.
The Golden Order, my friend. The Order is everywhere. We come from France, we're President of the United States, England, and many other countries. We have ambitions and the means to carry them out. You'll see, once all hell breaks out and your English support starts to fade away. The Order is an international organization. It matters little what governments do. Otherwise, why would Mortimer have gone to the trouble of inviting my mother?
If you're right, Sir Gregory has got it all wrong. Tell me, do you really believe Spain has any interest in ceding Louisiana to France?
Duke Manuel, for Spain, I don't know. But for you, I'm convinced that Lord Mortimer will thank you generously.
You would not be trying to bribe me, would you?
Nothing could be further from my mind. It would be an insult to believe that someone such as yourself might have a practical attitude towards its virtue. Even so, it is only natural that you be supported and encouraged if you were to follow Lord Mortimer, isn't it?
Indeed, for services rendered, it would be natural for me to receive compensation for the time spent achieving such an undertaking, yes?
Naturally. And, given your status, my Lord Duke, the compensation would have to be considerable.
Naturally. Tell me one last thing. What would I gain from all this?
My Lord Duke, in these uncertain times, I believe it would be to your advantage to be rid of Louisiana in order to focus your attention on your colonies in the south. It will show the court the man you really are and how much you truly deserve your position.
And it will silence all the jibes and jeers aimed at my person. Then people would only see me as the man who consolidated the frontiers of the Spanish Empire.
What a statesman you are.
Come on, you fool, give it up. You're trapped like a rat.
Monsieur, I am astounded. I did not think you capable, but you have succeeded. I will be more wary of you the next time. Nonetheless, if you can guarantee Lord Mortimer's support, then yes, you can count on my vote when the time comes. However, I expect you to be discreet with regard to my former partners, without which our agreement will become null and void.
Of course, my Lord Duke. You can count on me. Lord Mortimer will be delighted to hear the news.
I hope you know what you are getting into, Louis. I bid you good luck.
Good night, my Lord Duke.
See you tomorrow. Well, that's one thing out of the way. Only thing left to do is wait for the conference to resume tomorrow morning. Discourse on the Method by Descartes. This book changed the way I looked at the world.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
Hey, Peru's name tag's fallen off, and his door's ajar. A pattern with 4 circles.
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around. Pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents on the scaffold, but I expect they will cease in due course. Should you decide to send us more, please note that another 20 beds will soon be ready. The children and myself will never thank you enough. Long live the Republic. Long live France. Sister Marie-Hélène. All right. I've retrieved everything.
Good evening, Monsieur le Français.
Duchess, you're here. What a charming surprise. I'm beginning to think you can't be without me.
You have managed to penetrate my armor, sir. Am I disturbing you, perhaps?
That's not what I said.
Ah, by the way, you surprised me during the conference.
Why's that?
Well, you are going to lose. Why stay with Lord Mortimer?
I believe he has every chance of winning.
My, you are a rash one. However, if ever you want to change sides, please feel free to let me know.
But tell me, you didn't come here to try and make me change my mind, did you?
That's the last thing on my mind, although you would have everything to gain by it.
There's no point trying to persuade me. Don't hold it against me.
Of course not, silly. Louis, if you trust me, you ought to ask yourself why I have chosen home. You do trust me, don't you?
Of course, Emily. You know you have my full trust.
Louis, you're lying. That's not good. Any more of that and I might get upset. Admit, though, that it does make you think. There's still time, you know. Join us before it's too late.
Unfortunately, my word is my bond. I don't want to leave Lord Mortimer in the lurch.
Very well, as you wish. It's up to you to decide.
Tell me, are these visits to Mortimer's always so intense?
Yes and no. My sister doesn't normally disappear like she has. Any news of your mother?
Still nothing, no.
Very well. Can we change subject, please? I didn't come here to go through all that again.
Of course, it's late. You're right.
Come, Louis.
My friends, do not worry. I assure you that Lord Mortimer's plan will never see the light of day. I shall deal with informing our allies, but for the time being, I need you to make a stand.
What do you think about Monsieur de Richet?
I don't know yet. I feel there's great potential in him. He looks like he can be trusted. And Duchess Hillsborough, why isn't she here? She's busy. Don't worry about her.
Oh, isn't it time to replace her?
Not so fast, sir. She is an important figure. You ought to have a little more faith in her. What are we going to do about Washington? He will be a hard nut to crack. On our chessboard, he is Mortimer's king. Don't worry. Mr. President only wants one thing: to keep his dear America united. He won't jeopardize everything he has achieved on a whim. He has been serving Mortimer for quite some time. It won't be easy to bring him around. Do you feel all right, Mr. Godoy? You haven't said a word.
Please excuse me, gentlemen. I feel tired.
Oh, I see. I think it is high time you left us then. Now!